for the recording, what's your tag and how long have you been playing?
My tag is xbInss, playing 2000. So about 10 years.
And like, what's your like routine right now when you play Melee?
When do I play Melee?
Like, what's your like routine? Like, what do you like when you're like, I want to play Melee today? Like, what do you do essentially?
Just I don't know. I never really thought of it. I just play either on unranked, ranked, friends.
Okay. And do you have like a goal right now?
Not really. I mean, I want to get better, obviously, but I don't think I've ever thought of it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you don't have to have like a definitive goal. Just getting better is just always fine. But yeah, I don't know why the Falcon game clicked, but whatever. So, before I even get into it, like, I think the biggest thing I always say is you should have like your L cancel rate like be like 80%, and like whenever you click through like 3 random games, you should just be like, if it's lower than 80%, just like spend like an hour grinding L cancels because it's so good, to have it like be consistent, and that's pretty important. Like, I mean, you didn't really say anything about Uncle Punch. I don't know if you use it at all, but I think Uncle Punch is just more important than like playing unranked or ranked for a while, essentially.
Yeah, I use.
Yeah, like I feel like your Wavedash stuff was your Wavedashes were pretty clean comparatively, and like so I was surprised that the L cancel rate was like lower. I mean, sometimes it is like edge cancels don't get counted, they count against you, but even then I still should be seeing like 80% in like any rank of this games, like not like 58 in this game. But
yeah, I mostly work on my Wavedash, but like the reason it may be inconsistent L canceling is 'cause I don't know if it's anything adjusted, have you? But I play Fox, the box, and I play Puff on controller.
oh, okay, so it's basically completely different. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would definitely like spend a lot of time grinding L cancels realistically right now, just because it's like so important with Puff because he's so slow that any frame advantage just matters a lot. But let me look at an actual game. You said you wanted to mostly focus on like Falco. I'm not like gonna really like think about, oh yeah, this is what you should do in like X spot. That's not like what I'm trying to say right now. I'm more like looking at your gameplay like overall as a whole and trying to see what you need to do better, essentially.
Okay.
This is weird. I'm gonna lower the volume still.
Now this guy is like, he's in my Discord. He's pretty big, so like he gives me some advice too. So I want to know how to do better.
Yeah. Do you know why you do this back air?
Which back?
The back air to start the game.
Have it. That's wide.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Do you have any thought process behind it? Because I'm like to know that because that usually helps me. But yeah, usually how I think about most like starting games sequences for Puff is that you either can play really passive, which I think is the worst play, basically Wavedash back or sitting on the platform. Sometimes it's good in certain matchups with certain players, but I usually don't like playing passive. So by doing that back air, you were doing basically nothing, unfortunately, because like if you really wanted to do this like aggressive Nair, you could have done it way earlier and then actually hit him here like mid-air and like potentially could have like grabbed him for trying to like shine out or something like that. But since you did the Nair like this late, it's funny he even let you get this Nair on, honestly. Most people should have been able to just up tilt here because you just were too late to actually aggressively approach. So I do like going for this Nair, but just not with the back air first. Alternatively, you could try and like jump off the side platform and try and like back air like a passive play from another character, or try and like jump read up air a character jumping the top platform. There's like the main ways to like play the opener, but like you can't do like any wasted inputs essentially, and that back air is like pretty wasted. This is a pretty good grab, but this is actually Falco specific. Basically, most of your wave dashes, you don't want to do them too long against Falco. His moves aren't that really big like horizontally, so you can just wave dash like slightly and get out of them pretty much. Same thing with jump backwards, trying to avoid aerials against Falco. The only one that's like kind of big horizontally is Nair, but like down air just doesn't have like a big like sideways hitbox. So it's pretty important just like do shallow wave dashes versus him, which is like pretty unintuitive because most of the times with Puff you're always doing pretty long ones to get out of situations or like duck under things. So it's just like a micro spacing thing. I feel like this is a pretty important thing with Puff, basically in any matchup. I was noticing it in like I just watched like a random game just to make sure on just a random other game, and you don't really want to like basically force your way back into neutral, and this type of Nair is like basically forcing your way back into neutral in the sense that like you have to take your time because Puff is very slow, and when you do a Nair this far away, the other character can just react to it and then just stuff you out. Realistically, this Falco should have gotten like an up tilt or like an actual back air that doesn't clank you, or they could have even just like held down and tried to crouch cancel shine you, and that would have been pretty bad for you too, because you wouldn't even get your jumps back if they got hit by the Nair. So it's like basically these types of Nairs are pretty bad. They're only like last resort and not like the first option. You only use like 2 jumps, so you don't really have to like do this type of Nair yet. If you were at like 1 jump left, you can do this Nair, and that's like, I don't want to say it's fine, but like it's a last resort. So instead of doing this type of Nair, you'd want to like jump away, try and bait a character, try and hit you off stage and go around them or go under them. That's one way to do it. Or you'd want to just fall down to ledge. It's pretty hard for most characters, just like fall. I mean, to hit you falling to ledge, especially if you mix up whether you fast fall or no fast fall. So that's another option. You can try and go high. Against Falco in particular, you really can't go high because his full hop is so high, so it's pretty hard to actually get around him consistently if they're playing it well. Or you can try and land on a platform with like an edge cancel or like a Waveland off to try and get your jumps back. But essentially these types of like aerials are pretty risky in the sense that you're just not going to get your jumps back, and you're also just going to continuously eat damage. Especially if you were higher percent here, you just literally die for this attempt, and you would not get any. The big thing is also you don't get anything off of these types of aerials when they hit. The other one would be like pound or something. You don't get off a pound. Like this is a good back here to go for. This is pretty good. I would like to drift it a little bit further back. I think it was pretty like the drift wasn't that great, especially if it was like Fox or something. Like if that's a Fox up air, that would have hit you. But it's a little bit scary to do that type of drift. I like how you landed after it though. That was really good.
I do have a quick question. So what would have been the best option in that situation where I was coming down with that? What would you have?
Right here? Like,
yeah.
I would just jump away back here and then try and get Falco to do this type of downer at me like you did here. Because there's really no reason to like I'm saying, like when you have that many jumps and that many resources, there's no reason to go for this type of like greedy Nair essentially to try and like fight your way out of the corner. You don't really want to fight out of the corner. You want to get your opponent to fight at you and then get hit or weave around them essentially. So this back here is pretty good. Again, I would like to drift it further back because I just don't really like the inherent risk of a slight drift. In terms of the ground, I like this type of slight drift, but when I'm in the air like this and potentially die off the down air, I'm very more conservative in my drift because there's not really that much of a bad situation if I miss. Like if I miss like my drift spacing and go too far, because I can just probably grab ledge here after, at worst case scenario. But yeah, I would just jump away back here like you did here instead of doing the Nair first, basically. Because that was like that was really good. I feel like you aren't really. I saw it in the other games too. I feel like you're not really cognizant about like percents too much. I don't know if you do you think about percents at all when you play.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. I just dead brain it. I play like I know I shouldn't do it. Like I play like a spacey main, where I just like do things when I see the opportunity.
Yeah.
Just don't know. And partially because I used to be a Fox Falco main, but, a long time ago. But that's genuinely how I don't really pay attention to the percentage unless they're at higher percentage.
Okay. Yeah, so Puff does not have the privilege that Fox has, where Puff can't really shine after an aerial. She can try and res, but that doesn't really work. So basically, your frame data is a lot more limited in what you can do. Her aerials are slower, her jump squat is worse, so it's like a lot of Puff is picking the right moves at the right percents, and also thinking about, oh, if I hit him with this move, what does it do? Does it knock him down to a kill? Because a lot of Puff is also trying to get a knockdown in a lot of matchups. The only matchups that's not really as relevant is like against like Peach or Samus or something, where they do not really get knocked down too hard and your back air is very good. But like in this matchup, or like Fox for instance, you want to be thinking about the percents the entire time. It's not like too annoying, because it sounds kind of daunting at first, and you're like, I have to like pay attention to my opponent's percent and my percent the entire game over and over again. Basically, you only have to learn like a few percents for every character. It's like the main ones are like you want to learn when pound knocks down. That's pretty important. You never want to go for pounds if they aren't going to knock down. So usually you'd see Hungrybox go for like one back ear and then start pounding. It'd be a pretty common commentary trope where people will just like call out the pound and just start laughing because they just know like Hungrybox will go for it because he wants a knockdown from the pound, so he can get something started. Because Puff does not have that many moves that will knock down at low percent. She has pound at 5% versus Falco, 4% versus Fox. She has up air that knocks down at 17 versus Fox, 18 versus Falco. But besides that, she only has grab to knock down, and then her back air doesn't knock down for a long time. It's a good move in the sense that it can, like, you know, you can space it well. It's a pretty big disjoint, but it's pretty bad at low percent in the sense that it's only good for building damage. And if you get hit out of crouch or something from it, then you can just take a lot of damage in return. So basically, you want to not be doing these types of like drift in on the back air like that. I'll show the back air again. It's like you went for the back air, but you like kind of expected it to like lead into more hit stun or lead into a knockdown. And it's not going to knock down until 35 unstaled. So that's why you got hit here, essentially. Against like Captain Falcon or something, this would be even worse because their jab is way better than Falco's. Falco's jab's really good though. But yeah, you should have eaten probably like, I don't want to say the exact percent, but like you probably could have eaten like 40% here for messing this up, essentially. So if instead here you would have done the shallower back air, or you would have just not gone for back air at all and tried to go for like a move that actually knocks down, like up air or pound or land and try and grab, or dash attack would have maybe knocked down. No, I don't think it would have. It wasn't at 30% yet. So like basically, you want to look up. Have you seen the Puff Bible before?
Puff Bible? Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. Yeah, there should be like a link in there that shows you like the percents for like every character essentially, and that's really good to look over. So basically the main ones you want to look at are the pound percents, the up air percents, back air and forward air are pretty similar. You don't really have to memorize both. Most of the times forward air is maybe like 1% more than back air, or 2% maybe, and it's not like a big deal in my head because I'm not like, in a lot of matchups you're not really approaching the forward air. It's just like it's usually a move that you're going to be comboing with like around the 40s, right? So it's not like you have to really memorize that percent at all. So it's like pound, up air, back air. Sometimes you want to memorize dash attack. That's important. Sometimes up tilt's important. Sometimes up smash is important. And then you want to know your percents that drill will lead into grab and down air, stuff like that. So Puff is very percent based for sure, because you can't really just like, Hungrybox is actually the prime example of you can't really vibe it out, because you'll see him a lot of times go for like back air dash attack against Fox, and then he'll just like not knock down the Fox because it doesn't knock down yet, and then just die. And it's like the most like sad thing to look at, because like there's no way Hungrybox has like looked at a spreadsheet unless Crunch just showed him like, oh yeah, this is what happens here. It's funny because I've heard him talk about percents before, but they're so like weird. He like talks about like the Yoshi like rest percent where it knocks down out of armor. I'm like, and I don't know if it was even right either. So I was just like, man, if he used the percents in the other matchups, he'd be doing a lot better sometimes. So yeah, no, percents and basically picking the right move to knock down is insanely important with Puff. You know what? I also think that, because now I just saw the next sequence. So you see, like, just watch what aerials are doing here for a second, and then I'll talk about it. Let's do it one more time. See how every single time you go into the air with a full hop aerial, you fall with another aerial? Because I think when you try to hit him here, you actually tried the falling up air right here.
I was about to mention that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that's a really common Puff habit for most mid-level, even mid-level to even almost high level. Sometimes they'll do it. You never really want to get in this type of zone where you think, oh, since I'm landing on the ground, I need an aerial to cover myself. That's not really the case, because when you put out that aerial, you actually are putting yourself into lag if it doesn't hit. Way more lag than it would happen if you didn't go for the aerial. So a lot of times with Puff, you want to just go for one aerial on the rising and then just fall. And then you can decide, oh, I can just like go for a dash attack. I could go for a wave dash away. I could go for an empty land on shield because my opponent is shielding, expecting me to go for an aerial. So like, you never really want to get into this type of, I don't want to call it mindless, but it's a very autopilot type of Puff play where you're just going for aerial, falling aerial, aerial, falling aerial, aerial. It's sometimes it will work because the falling aerial basically is good if they don't shield, but most good players usually resort to shielding almost immediately after the first one, or they're going to try and crouch cancel. So both of those things basically beat the falling aerial. So you don't want to get into this type of like gameplay for sure. Sometimes it's good, but most of the times just landing without the aerial would have been better. Or instead of landing, you could also double jump into the air again and just keep double jumping. Go to a side platform, get your jumps back. Decide how you want to approach neutral. Or you can do back air, or like do a double jump back air, land further away. Or you can double jump back air, cross them up, you know? So there's a lot of like nuances to how you can land or choose your landings. Or you can even like Waveland off the side platform. You can do like Waveland to the ground. Like there's a lot of nuance here, so you have to just like use a bunch of different like landing sequences to make Puff trickier. Essentially, you can't like do like aerial, falling aerial. Is there only one?
So when you say one, do you think I should use or falling up air? Because like you said, that falling.
You're cutting out a bit too much here for me to hear it completely. Can you say it again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I said, do you think that falling up air isn't effective then?
No, it's still good, because falling up air sometimes will be just as good as going for an empty land grab, in the sense that they will try and jump out of the way of you landing on top of them with a grab. So it'll catch that. But if you only do back air falling up air, or only do back air falling back air, they will shield it every time, is basically what I'm saying. So it's like you have to vary how you land in order to get like different mix-ups, essentially. Because it's like it is a mix-up, but most of the times most Puffs do not play it like a mix-up. They play it like, oh, this is like what you have to do as falling up air here, which isn't really the case. But yeah, it is a mix-up. but also sometimes they can crouch cancel. Then you have to do the falling up air outside of crouch cancel %. So then it gets more complicated when you add in crouch cancel. But as a mix-up, it is fine to do falling up air, but I'm saying just don't only resort to back air, falling back air, or back air, falling up air as your only landing option. You can use all the other ones I was just talking about. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like here, also in the other game I saw, you don't really use a lot of like Wavedash out of shield or like up smash out of shield. Both of those are really good. I feel like most of the times you try and resort to jumping out of shield, which like sometimes jumping out of shield is the right option. But usually when you're in shield like this, you do not want to straight up jump. The Wavedash is really nice because you can basically duck under things a lot of times. You'll duck under jabs almost every time. So I like Wavedash in that instance. Also, Wavedash lets you get out of the way of a full hop. Whereas if you try and jump and then go for like an aerial and the full hops on top of you, you will get hit. So I really like going for Wavedash out of shield pretty much most of the time when I'm in a shielded situation, if I can. Wavedash is still laggy, so it's not like the safest thing in the world. It's more as like a kind of a default. Up smash out of shield is really good. You could have waited for this down air to hit your shield. It looked like a high down air too if it actually hit shield, so you could have up smashed out of shield after. Obviously there's shield grab, but you can I mean, I wouldn't really default to shield grabbing. Most of the times how shield grabs work, you don't want to you have to like make them basically mess up on shield. So either have to like, I don't know, do something like shield DI, or like you have to like jump into like an aerial situation. You're like, oh, I'm jumping into them and then I'm shielding, and then they're gonna mess up their down air timing or their like nair timing if they're Fox, because they're not expecting you to be close to them shielding, they're expecting you to be here shielding. Or you're like, oh, I wave dash towards them and shield, and they mess up their shielding timing. Or I wave dash back and they expect to hit a shield and they don't. So like most of the time shield grabs aren't just like, oh, I should go for them because I'm in shield and it's my only option. They're more of a like, I need to get my opponent to mess up on shield purposely. But yeah, I really recommend just like practicing Wavedash out of shield and up smash out of shield, because both of those are really good. But it's not to say that aerial out of shield's bad necessarily. It's just like in that situation especially, and other ones I've seen, you need to use that more. This is Falco specific, but never Gettup Attack versus Falco. That just does not work. Unfortunately, Puff's Gettup Attack is like one of the worst in the game, but it's really, really, really bad versus Falco because his downer just completely beats it. Like, he could have just downered in place here when you were doing Gettup Attack, and you would just lose. That's the sad reality of it. So never do it in this matchup, for sure. Did you not get all the I mean, you were dead anyways, but you like missed rising pounds. Yeah. I would definitely practice that.
I think they used some of my jump stage.
Yeah, and you definitely, even if you did perfect recovery here, you wouldn't have lived because you used jumps. But because I think you jumped into the downer. I think is what happened here. But yeah, you should definitely lab out your rising pounds because this should be 100%. I was talking about L cancel being 80%. Rising pounds should be 100%. You should miss like one rising pound like every 50 games, basically, and get a sing. But yeah, this is like being on box would be definitely weird to switch to this for rising pound. It's not like the most intuitive input realistically, but yeah, this should not be messed up, so I'd lab that out more. So L cancels and rising pound already, because like that was like if you didn't jump into him, maybe you could have lived. I don't think you would have, because also Falco is a pretty easy time going for like a rising down air for ledge, for instance, but that shouldn't like be messed up anyways. That was a fine back air attempt. I'm okay with that, realistically. See what I'm talking about, like fighting out of the corner here? You like try and like forward air your way onto stage. This is basically the exact same thing as the Nair on the stage, and then he just crouch cancels it and then just hits you out of it. So instead here, what you could do is you can go for the same forward air, right? But you're not really intentionally trying to fight your way onto stage. You're more so just trying to protect your space around the ledge with the forward air. So what I would do is I would hit him with that forward air and not drift in here, And I would just go ledge, because he would try and do this exact same down air if you drift a ledge, and then you can just turn around back air and hit him again. Or you can just forward air hit him again. And there's nothing you can do about it realistically. Falco doesn't have an easy time dealing with that. He has to like try and laser your like your refreshes, or he has to like get you to go for a low refresh and try and down air the ledge that way. So basically around the ledge here, you don't really want to cross up or even just land on stage with your aerial, like the Nair and like this forward air. You want to either, if it's a forward air or back air, you want to hit them, either hit their shield or hit them crouching and then just drift away. Or you can not hit them at all and then just land on ledge. Or you can try and go around them if you think they are going to just sit there in crouch or shielding. But yeah.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, no, you're all good. Understandable. Alright, so. But yeah, do you get what I'm saying about that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did the Nair on stage again? Was that a pound? Do you know? Or
What pound?
like this? Was this rollout like a pound? Or were you just like done with the stock?
No, I think I ran out of jumps. I think I ran out.
Nah, you only... You landed on stage, so you had all your jumps here. Okay, let's see if you use any jumps. One jump. You use only one jump here, so you have all your jumps. Yeah, you have all your jumps but one. So.
Oh, might have been.
Yeah, no. Maybe you just didn't think you landed on stage after the forward air, so you're like, I don't have any jumps anymore. Or you were thinking you were Fox or something. I'm playing on Vox, and you're like, oh, I only have one jump, because that's just how it works, right? So maybe that was it too.
Maybe I was raging. Who knows?
Yeah, or that's also a thing. I could see that as well too. You're like, oh, well, I'm below the stage against Falco. Maybe I could just get down here. And that isn't really the case usually. Whenever you're below the stage versus most characters, you can usually pound away and avoid all their hitboxes. You can pound away, go high, go around them, even air dodge all the way onto stage if you really want to do like the I don't want to say the laziest recovery, but like it's a recovery that will usually get you hit, but you will usually survive. Sometimes that's like the option. Usually it's not. But yeah, you could definitely live this situation if you didn't roll out. But well, we'll never know the true reason realistically. That's like the hardest thing about melee is you can't really remember what happened like 2 seconds ago. You're like, someone just like tells you something like, oh yeah, why'd you do this? Like literally like the last situation that happened, you're like, I don't remember doing anything. That's the most stupid part of melee for sure. So it's hard. But sometimes you can kind of guess. Basically, whenever someone either gets hit too far away or they tech roll away, you do not want to go for this type of forward air. This could have been a back air, this could have been an up air, it could have been literally anything. But you do not want to go for the second aerial on the tech chase if they tech roll away, because Puff is just too slow to hit this. So instead, you either want to land here and try and dash tech. That's an option. A safer option is just to land here and guess what they're going to do out of the corner anyways. Because most characters, another big thing with Puff is you want to put them into the corner and catch their escape option. Because if you catch their escape option with anything, it usually leads into rest. Let's say they're Fox, they dash out of the corner, you grab them, up the rest. Let's say they are Fox and they jump out of the corner, they're at 17%, full hop, up air, rest on the platform. And then like they Nair out of the corner, wave dash back, grab, up the rest. Like most of the times in the corner, if you guess right one time, they're dead. So it's like the sickest part of melee to have someone in the corner as Puff. So when this happens, basically you just want to sit here and then you want to guess what they're going to do. Let's say it's Falco and he's like, I want to short out down air out of the corner. You wave dash back, forward smash. Wave dash back, grab. Also, you can try and full hop, same thing, go for a back air or a fair at this percent, or you can just go for an up air and play it safe and then just like try and hit him coming down. Let's say he goes for a shield, then you just empty land grab. It's like basically this spot is so good, but you're throwing it away trying to go for this aerial when they have too much time to tech roll or shield here. So I would just land here. You can either try and go for a dash attack with enough time. It is faster to land a dash check with a fast fall than go for this type of aerial. That's what I'm saying. Or you can just try and read a mix-up out of the corner, which is pretty good overall. This is kind of Falco specific, but you not really want to challenge like this with a back air ever. The only time you want to challenge it with a back air is when they've already landed with their down air and you're just hitting them sideways. You do not want to try and hit the middle of their down air like this. What you could have done is falling up air and then like drifted around them and got underneath them and falling up air before their down air came out and kind of timed it right. Again, it's still scary, but or you could have just done a really safe option, just drifted further this way and then just avoided down air completely and tried to land on a side platform. That would have been fine too. This is a pretty greedy shield grab, so I was talking about earlier, where he didn't really set up anything with this roll, essentially. He knew you're going to be tech rolling in this way. He was late on his option. He realized that, so he's like, I'm going to go for this type of safe down air into the mango forward smash here. So again, whenever you're going for a shield grab, you have to be like, did I earn the shield grab or what? If I didn't, is it risk reward wise good? See, I don't like saying this ever when I'm doing lessons, but sometimes it is risk reward wise. Basically, if I go for this shield grab, what's going to happen? I can kill them off of grab of the rest. And let's say I'm at 78 and they're at 28. When I grab them, they die and I die too for it. It sucks, but if that hits like maybe like 25% of the time, that's so nice. But at this percent, it doesn't make any sense to go for this risk reward option because you are going to die off the forward smash, probably. And then Falco is not going to die off a grab at this percent usually. He will just be, especially on Dreamland, he can't get forward throw to his death. He can't really get back throw in center stage. He can get up thrown, but you have to shark what he does after, and he has a lot of mix-ups. He can do shine stall, he can do up B straight up, he can do just falling down air at different timings. So it's pretty annoying to even go for this risk reward wise, basically, because I kind of hate the part of Puff that is risk reward, but sometimes it is good. But this was not one of those times. This was a good up air attempt. You just were in shield, so you actually couldn't go for. Well, you tried to go for up air and you got smash instead. This was actually a lot better than like this type of like drift is really good. I loved everything about this. You could have just landed though after that back air and he shielded. You could have definitely landed there and that would have been fine. You can just land on the ground next to him and then he's in shield and he has to freak out. He has to go for like back air to shield, down air to shield, or full hop, and all those options basically just lose the Wavedash back because either you gain space on him and keep center, or he just back airs or down airs into you and you just grab him or forward smash him. But yeah, trying to cross him up here is kind of still fine because like he's in shield, so it's pretty hard for him to hit you here. But because you are pretty low on jumps, you have less height, and also basically the less jumps you have, the worse control over drift you have. So it was pretty hard to get like a really good drift around here, essentially. This was perfect gameplay. I loved it. He was stuck in laser, so you're like, I'm just gonna run around here. And that was pretty much fun. I like this as well. You got stuck in forward smash as well too. But there is no reason to lay on the ground here when you have such slow jumps. You have use two jumps, you use three, and I think you use four somewhere in there. So basically you kind of just land in center. When you could have just landed on top plat, that'd have been fine. He can't really get to you very easily. He has to go for rising downer all the way up here, and he lands here. And if you're here, he can't hit you. And if he tries to do that, you just literally back him or grab him. Or you could land in side plat. Both those are fine. Because the big thing about, again, you need to have resources, which is your jumps. And if you don't have them, you are just going to be in a world of hurt, essentially. Yeah, I think you actually didn't even land there, and you tried to jump, which was even worse, because you got no height on that. So that was unfortunate. The big thing also, whenever you're landing, I was talking about like the landing situations, but I wasn't really talking about like defensive landing in the same way. So whenever you're landing, you have to decide, do I have enough time to get an attack out? So right there, I'd have been like, can I dash attack here? Probably not. Probably can't dash attack there. I can't get out of dash in time. So if I can't dash attack, can I up smash? I could have up smashed there. Wouldn't have worked? No. can I go for a jump away back air? That's a pretty safe option most of the time. Just full hop back air, retreating. So it's pretty hard for an opponent to hit you. No, you can't. If you try to jump there, you just hit laser. So you're like, well, I can't do any of the defensive attack options. So can I do...
Hello.
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Alright.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll just go over what I was saying, because I don't know when you cut out. But basically what I was saying is you need to figure out whenever you're landing defensively with like low jumps or something, what options do I have? Can I go for like an aggressive dash attack to try and beat them trying to hit me? Can I go for like an up smash in place? Can I go for an up tilt? Can I go for a jump away? If I can't do any of those options because I don't have enough time, then I have to decide, do I shield, do I spot dodge, do I roll, or do I wave dash back? Wave dash back is the slowest, so I have to have more time for that one. But it's the one that usually can duck under things. Like, let's say you went for a jab instead of a shine here, or like a down tilt, then you could have ducked under a jab. Also, if you went for a downer or something, then you can just basically wave dash back and grab the downer. Or let's say he is very close to me, then I have to shield, spot dodge, or roll almost certainly. And in those situations, you kind of have to pick based on risk reward most of the time. Like, well, okay, so if I roll right here, can I die to a hard read? If I could die to a hard read, then I probably shouldn't go for a roll. But if, let's say I'm at 70% versus Fox, the difference between me rolling and me getting shine grabbed or just straight up raw grabbed on shield is the exact same thing. Because if I'm at 70, I died out. Raw up smash from a roll, and then I die from grab up through up air. So then you're like, well, I have just 50-50 between them. Because I can't spot dodge versus Fox. You just hit shine. But like if I'm playing against Marth or Falcon, or specifically Marth mostly, then I spot dodge more often than I do shield or roll. So you kind of have to risk reward it in the sense that, like, if I do this option defensively, can I die for it? Do I have time to do it? That's pretty important. Like, you didn't do anything there essentially. So that was the big thing. I don't like that shield grab, but it did work. This is Falco specific. Basically, whenever I see something that's like glaring against Falco, I'll say it, but not like, again, not focusing on it too hard. You don't really want to jump when he's like close to you and he's grounded, because he will just fire another laser. You could have tried to forwarder out of hit stun. That's a pretty good option versus laser sometimes. The fact that he tried to laser into you means you could have gotten this forwarder. And when you get this forwarder, you can either choose to... So this is different than offstage because you don't have any chance of dying to a downer and a hit stun, like you did in the corner. This time you can actually go for a forwarder and try and space it as a cross up because it can miss backwards. Or if they try and, like, okay, so let's say you do the safe forward air and space it, and then they go for shine. Obviously it whiffs, you can just grab them after the shine. But let's say they know that you're going to do the safe forward air, they can just wave dash forward shine, they can do short hop downer at you, and they can just hit you. So basically a lot of the times, sometimes really unsafe spacing is good against low percent. Because if you do it unsafe spacing, then they can't directly punish you for going this way every time. Because if they know you're gonna go for a very spaced option every time, they can punish it every time. A good example of this is when you hit Fox's shield with like a Nair. He will wave dash out shield, try and jab and grab you every time, because you're like, oh, I need to space my Nair back because it's a very unsafe like time for me. Essentially, I hit his shield, I should be spacing back and trying to get away. So you want to space it back, but if you space it back every time, you can get wave dash out shield, jab, grabbed, and then just die. But let's say you do Nair on Fox's shield and you space it this way, you land here. Fox tries to go for this wave dash out shield, jab, grab. It whiffs, obviously, and then you just take center on him. You can go for a back air after his grab or jab misses. But then let's say he starts reading you going for this way, then he can wave dash out of shield shine. He can try and shine out of shield. He can go for wave dash turnaround out of shield, but that means he can't cover this way anymore, basically. So it's a big thing about landing when they're at crouch cancel percent. When you're basically in stage, not off stage again. big distinction here is that you can go for unsafe, basically spacings, and it actually works out because he was able to punish you here. But next time, if you do the exact same spacing every time, he will just punish you every time, essentially. If that makes sense. So that was a good time to actually go for the back air out of shield. That was a good decision making. Loki, I actually was down for you to go for the shield grab right here. Here for this, because right here you could try and go for a grab instead here. It probably wouldn't work because again, up air didn't knock down, so it wasn't a true combo here. After the up air, if you can get anything else out of it, but there's a lot of things that you could have done here instead. I'm not saying we did here is bad. I actually like this shield because this shield's cool because it's pretty hard for Falco to actually space that properly. I think you could have gotten a grab here. So this is a cool shield for sure. Alternatively, what could have happened here is you could have gone for an up tilt, and that's kind of what the Falco was covering. Falco was covering you go for a grab or an up tilt, and this probably would have hit those options. So the shield was a cool mix-up in the sense that it forced Falco to be in a bad spot, and you're going for a forced option to get a shield grab rather than a unforced one, which is just sitting in shield. So this was good. I don't like this forward air. That up air was fine, but going for this forward air doesn't really make sense because this type of forward air basically is saying, I want to hit you with weak fair. But weak fair is not a combo move at 33%. I saw you do another game where you do like weak fair falling up air. It's like the most like, it's like basically a cheese combo because weak fair has no hit stun basically. It's only good to go for weak fair, strong fair basically. Weak fair rest. So at this percent doesn't really work. So I was trying to avoid going for these types of fairs in neutral. Unless they're at like literally 90%, you can go for this type of fair. Because it's so late that it's always going to be a weak fair, even if it hits. So I'd just be wary about if anytime you get a weak fair, be like, why did I do that? Was I actually trying to go for a strong fair and I messed up? In which case you could do exercise if you're messing up your weak fair versus strong fair a lot. That's a pretty good mode in Uncle Punch. It's also just good for movement in general. I really like that game mode. Oh, you actually did Wavedash still that time. I was curious why you didn't do it any other times. I mean, I guess you weren't really insanely pressured there in the same way that you were in most of these other situations, so you felt more comfortable probably. But yeah, that was good.
I mean, I have a hard time reacting when I'm pressured. I notice that when I'm playing players, I'll go online and I'll play some of my friends. Obviously, just have a hard time against it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, usually how I would do that is I would set up a basically like the Uncle Punch has like just a training mode section where it's just like you can just set up your own save state. So I would just recommend setting up a save state of Falco or any character hitting your shield with like their standard pressure sequence, like Falco Shine Down Air, and then just Wavedash away, timing after the Shine or timing after the down air if they want to do multiple down airs, because there's different pressure sequences Falco can do, or like timing an up smash after the Shine. Like I think that's very valuable to work on this, because if you don't work on it in like by yourself, then you won't get it in friendlies realistically. Sometimes you can kind of skip working on it by yourself and just only spam it in friendlies, but it's way harder because those sequences will only come up a few times a match, if that makes sense. So anytime you're struggling with something like against people, just literally spam it so much in Uncle Punch and you should be able to get it. That's what I do whenever I'm like, oh man, I'm doing really bad in this spot, like I can't crouch cancel Fox's Nair. It just feels so fast online. And when I'm playing friendlies, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna practice it a bunch in Uncle Punch, and I just got it. And then anytime a Fox like nairs me anymore, I just like crouch cancel it easily because I just practiced it a ton by myself. And then like you go from like a little bit of confidence in friendlies to like more and more confidence over time. But then you have to do it in tournament too. That's the hard part about Melee, is you kind of have to do like analysis, Uncle Punch, friendlies, and tournament. Like you have to do all of them. Like I'm not saying every day obviously, but you have to do all of them enough, because getting the tournament level is way harder than friendlies level in terms of like tech skill. Like you might be able to do the Wavedash out of shield stuff in friendlies, but when it gets to tournament, you're gonna get nervous. You're gonna like forget what you're doing, and that'll happen a lot. So you have to make sure you also practice in tournament too. This is like another. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I wasn't. You got it.
Okay. So what would you say is the best way of practicing in tournament? Because like that's where I really, because like I get really bad about performing in tournament. I get nervous. You know, what do you do?
Basically, there's a lot of different ways to get better at playing in tournaments, but I mean, one of the biggest ones is just keeping consistency between like how you play in friendlies and how you play in tournament. So like, let's say you listen to music when you play friendlies, you should listen to music when you play tournament. If you use headphones when you play friendlies, you play headphones when you use tournament. Let's say like you drink a certain beverage when you're playing friendlies, you should be drinking the same thing at tournaments. So basically that's one way, is keeping consistency across everything is very important. Like if you don't listen to game sound when you play friendlies, you shouldn't listen to it when you play tournament. That's one way. Another way is just spamming tournaments. It's like the cop-out answer, because realistically that's how I got good at tournaments, but nowadays it's like a lot easier. Also, sometimes when you play friendlies, you can pretend to like just go really try hard and just forget about basically learning for like, let's say one game. You're like, all right, this is like the game that I want to pretend like it's a tournament set, and you can do that. That's completely fine. Because it's still fine to play like that, because it's practicing for tournament, because tournament is different than friendlies. When you play in a tournament, you are going to be improving because you'll figure out a lot of areas you're doing wrong, but you obviously are thinking about winning in that sense as well too, because you're going to be going for like, let's say you're playing against like a really bad fox or something, you're going to be spamming like up their shield grab up the rest because they're missing like Nair on shield timings. Like obviously in friendlies you can do the same thing, you can go for that stuff, but like you're going to probably be practicing, oh, I'm not going to practice up the rest, I'm going to be practicing up throw, up air, regrab, up throw, tech chase rest, instead of just, just up the resting them, if that makes sense. So basically you can pretend like one friendlies game out of like, I don't know, you can set a certain amount of numbers, or just like randomly like flip a coin or something in the middle of playing friendlies and be like, yeah, do I want to play it like a tournament game? I think that's pretty important too. Sometimes you can get lost in like, oh, I want to just focus on improvement only, but sometimes it's cool to like pretend it's like it's a tournament set, so you can like, or let's say you're like down 3 stocks to 1 like right now, literally just start like pretending like you are going to lose a tournament set and you're gonna be out of the tournament right now, and just like put that like self-imposed pressure on you is another way to do it. So that's how I think about it.
The part I really struggle with, like, because like I go for like up throw, up air, up throw, rest, and sometimes when I do the regrab and I try to rest them, like I miss the rest, and then it like puts a mental block in my head, because like I feel like, oh shit, I just messed it up, and I'm just inconsistent the rest of the match. Like that always also runs in the back.
Yeah, so for that, sometimes you can make a judgment call based on how you're playing. You'll be like, I'm not going to go for it anymore. And that's okay. You can just go for a different setup. You're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to go for my up throw, up air regrab because I'm missing the up throw, up air regrab. You're like, okay, well, instead of that, why don't I just go for straight up throw, up air rest? And you could go for that. And then if that doesn't work, you can be like, well, I'll just go for up throw, up air, and then just be content with that. And then I'll try and read their double jump or something. I've done that many times where I'm messing up something insanely basic in my tech skill. Like I'm missing like up smash out of shield. I'm like, all right, I'm done up smash out of shielding this game for the rest of the set. Gonna Wavedash away, and then just, that's my mix up. Puff has enough options to be able to do that. There's also the flip side of like, oh, I'm just gonna hit the next one, and that's completely fine too. Sometimes you have to go for the next one. Let's say it's tech chase rest. Sometimes you have to win the game with the tech chase rest and be content with knowing that you went for the right option and missed, because in the future, the fact that you went for it at least will improve the chance of you hitting it again later, because you've been in that spot, you've known that you've missed it before, but this time you're like, I'm going to hit it. But like, if you don't miss it once or miss it again or whatever, then you're just like going to probably miss it the next time in a more important set, if that makes sense. Sometimes it's okay to miss it. Like I went for like an up throw tech chase rest against Magi at main stage and lost game 1 because of it, but I was okay with that because I was like, well, next time I will hit the rest, or next time I'll go for the combo that actually was like the right idea there. So I have that issue too, but basically sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll decide to go for a lower execution thing, or sometimes I'll be like, I'm gonna go for this because that's what I need to do for the future, and it depends on how you're feeling, but usually I recommend the approach of like, I will go for it because I'll hit it in the future situation most of the time.
Okay, so just trust your judgment, go with your...
Yeah, it's a gut. It is ultimately your gut telling you which one you should do, but probably for improvement, it's to go for the one that will be the long-term right solution.
Hey, Dash.
Yeah, that's why you dashed that there.
Yeah, I just like walked for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, this is pretty weird. I was trying to ignore this one. I was like, what I was trying to say before we went to that tangent was you went for this like weak fair falling up air thing again, which isn't good. You missed your up air too, which is even crazier there.
Yeah, that was just me walking back. Like, I was expecting you to roll, but I guess I just did it so long. I was like, crap, roll with.
Yeah, yeah, like this doesn't make sense. Yeah, basically with Puff, you want to be landing, or you want to be as close as possible to your opponent without disadvantage. So Fox has a really good time of being really close to someone because he has a really fast short hop in there. Falco doesn't have this, so you can land as basically as close as possible to Falco unless you're like inside of Falco's short hop down air range, which is pretty small again, like I was saying, horizontally. So you can land very close to Falco, or just stay very close to Falco. Let's say someone's like dashing back or like full hopping away, just like wave dash with them, or just like run up dash like you're doing here, but not obviously dashing back first. But yeah, this was like a Fox type of movement for sure, not like a Jigglypuff one. Yeah, that Nair didn't make sense. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier. This time I was in the center stage, so going into center with it, not the worst thing comparatively to going into the corner with it. Because when you go into center with it, you aren't going to really be sent off stage. Even this DI wasn't good off the shine or off the up air. You can SDI this up air, but you almost died to literally die, which is crazy. But yeah, no, I don't really like that Nair, but it's more understandable than the Nair in the corner that you did earlier. Alternatively, again, you can just land on the platform and not try and fight your way back down, because again, when you're so far, like, look how far you are away from Falco here when you decide to Nair. You went for this forward air. Falco's like, all right, I'm on the ground. You are like a full Falco double jump away from above him. There's no way this Nair can hit. Most of the times, Nair timings will work better around this height. Around side plat height is pretty good to go for a Nair. You don't want to go for a Nair too high, because again, you'll probably hit them jumping. And if it's not at 90%, it's not going to work, because 90% is around when Nair knocks down versus every character. So basically, Nair is a move that's really weird, because it's only good at low percent. Sometimes it's good at low percent when they try and do a bad defensive option out of it, because if they do a bad defensive option out of it at low percent, they can potentially get Sakurai angle grabbed or rested, or they can get like Nair and they hard read their jump out of it. Like, it's good at low percent for that reason. It's still kind of cheese, honestly. It's getting worse and worse to go for Nair at low percent, is how I feel about it. But Nair is good at high percent too, but it's not good at these little middle percents where even if you hit it, he landed before you and is able to shine, which is like the sad part about it. You even hit the like high risk option to go into center there, and it didn't even do anything. So I mean, that's again, yeah.
That Nair was probably an attempt to like get you to fall down back.
Yeah, like you were thinking about it for landing, but if you wanted to just land, you could have just landed on the side. You actually landed already, but let me go back to where it actually happened. Like right here, you can just fall and land here. And there's no risk to doing that, especially since when you're falling, you can react to what the Falco's doing. Just look at him the whole time, because I mean, once you get to a certain point with Puff, you don't have to like ever think about where your character is. You probably still have to not necessarily consciously, but you sometimes have to like be like, am I going to be on a platform or not? But it's realistically you'll just get that like comfort level. But yeah, you can definitely just look at what he's facing. When he's dashing back like this, there's no way he can hit you if you go right here right now. He just literally can't. But because you naired, you put yourself into a spot where you have to land. That's also the problem with Nair too, is that like even as a landing move, it basically forces yourself into it. Whereas like back air or something, you can just always choose to like Waveland out of it. You can choose to land on a platform. You can choose to land on the ground. You can just choose to do an aerial out of it too. You can do double jump but back up into the air. You can do double jump off the top lat. Like that's also another reason why back air is just better for landing. But yeah, no, you're definitely thinking about landing, but also this. Sometimes it's cool to do this to just aggressively take center. Aggressively take center is fine sometimes too, but yeah, no.
I think that's what something is try and take aggressive. That may have been what I was gonna do.
Yeah, it might have just been subconsciously like, yeah, I like center stage, so I'll land center stage, and center stage is good, which is good. Sometimes you should go for that type of like movement, but not with an air that high in general. But also you shouldn't do it as often as you do like the other landing options essentially. Maybe if you did like a forward air there and that was your aggressive option, you chose that maybe 20% of the time you went for a landing, you went for the like a forward air there and hit him out of the air. Now that'd have been pretty good. That'd have been a good option. But again, in moderation, because if you do it every time, then it gets pretty predictable. So that was a good way to take center. That was really good.
Keep that in mind. It's actually.
Yeah, no. Turn around back air here, and then just being like, well, using lag. I'm just out. You didn't even try and hit him. Like the turnaround back air, you might have tried to hit him. But when you didn't hit him, you weren't like, I need to hit him. You were like, I need to get center. This was really good. Alternatively, let's say he was on the platform here and did this turnaround back here. He was still on the platform shielding. You can just up air and then just take center. Up air, take center is like really broken too. Forward air is a little bit worse, but specifically in this spot, I think forward air was fine to take center with. Like I was saying earlier, forward air was fine to take center earlier. It's dependent on matchups still, whether forward air is good or not to take center with. Against Falco, it's kind of fun. But against Fox, I wouldn't do this type of forward air. I would just do the up air generally. But yeah, this is pretty good. You didn't try and immediately attack or anything out of the back air. You were just trying to take center, which is good. All right, look a little bit at another game, a different matchup probably. But it doesn't really matter because I'm not like doing specifically onto matchups. I have like a few things I've said. Doesn't really matter. What happened in this game? Right, well.
Oh, I did really bad. I struggle against.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of like mid to low level puffs struggle against Marth a lot. Like I remember I had a really bad time against Marth. He's got everything Puff has, but like he's pretty fast and like and he has a dash back, which is annoying because not all the other characters have a really good dash back. Fox has one, but it's not the same. So they don't really know how to use it. Marth only use it, so they know how to use it better. Yeah, look a little bit at this. I also want to see how you play on FD as well too.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no. Yeah, actually went for a hard read on grab, which I think is fine. Sometimes you kind of have to go for a hard read with the way you set up grab. Like miss grab rest setups against a lot of characters, you have to be like, oh, I need to jump preemptively to rest their miss grab, and that's fine. If you jumped here, this would have been pretty good. I'd rather you jumped instead of just clicked down B. That would have been good. I don't really like wave dash forward like this. I mean, you're not getting clean wave dashes, so it also looks worse. But wave dash forward isn't as good as wave dash back in general because it's a laggy approach. In general, you'd rather be wanting to short hop as your approach against like Marth, or like in a lot of situations you want to short hop. Decide whether you want to do a short hop auto cancel back here, short hop late L cancel back here, no back here at all, or Wavedash back, Waveland back, fast fall down into crouch. All those are fine. So I like the fact that you're crouching, trying to like rest and miss grab. I mean, at 0%, he's not gonna die for this, but I do like the fact that you're threatening it in general. So just not the right like execution way to do it, but I do like the idea in general.
I think this was the practice too. I think I was just trying to like focus on crouch cancel rest.
Yeah.
I thought it was essential for the matchup.
Yeah, that's pretty good. This is basically the exact same recovery as you were doing earlier. You just aren't clicking Nair here. That doesn't really make sense. There's no reason to be back airing in this spot because he's in lag of neutral B. He cannot jump up and forward air you. That makes sense, right? So you're not doing anything baiting here. You were just wasting a jump. That's pretty important with Puff. You need to be like, so let's say this is Fox. Pretend it's Fox, I guess. So Fox, he might be able to hit you with full hop, double jump, up air, but he's not gonna really do that. So you don't need to do like a baiting type of back air here. Let's say it's Captain Falcon. He can't really hit you if you're up here. So you don't have to stay up here. So basically a lot about Puff is staying right outside of the range. Everyone memes about bubble theory or whatever, but like, it's how I think about it is like, you're gonna be staying outside of range when you're like recovering or like in the air really high. You want to stay out of range, but not too far out of range, so you can potentially bait them into hitting you and then land and get center on them. Basically, it's how a lot of the times to recover, as I was talking about earlier. So again, this is too high, and also the fact that he couldn't have hit you here because he's in the lag of neutral base. There's no reason to waste a jump there. So you might have almost not got around him. If he did like he let go of neutral B earlier, he could have probably forward smashed you for trying to land here. Was that basically the cost of trying to go for a double jump backer up there? Like if he was better, he could have just got you. That was completely fine to go for again. Again, obviously, the fact that you're trying it is really good. There's no fault. Again, really, that time was really good. You just didn't do a double jump there, a double jump back there. You just decided to directly land to center. Well, I mean, not like every Marth is gonna let you just like get center like that. They will actually like not go for the neutral B every time, but yeah. Oh, that was really good. Like, that was like the jump stuff I was talking about, trying to jump rest the misgrab. So like the attempt, downer is really good against Marth. So that was good. So back air falling up air, it's better against like Marth, Falcon, Sheik than it is against Fox and Falco, because if you mess up, you really can't get shined out of shield. You can't get crouch cancel shined. So like it's slightly better versus those characters, but again, don't do it mindlessly. It's okay, so I think the only matchup you could technically do it mindlessly is Captain Falcon, just because he has such poor out of shield options. So if you ever want to just be like, I want to spam back air falling up air today, just play against Captain Falcon. You can do it. And there's literally no, I don't want to say there's no risk, but it's way less risk than doing it against any of the other characters. Be careful against Marth and every character going for like obviously they said no invincibility, but going for like Waveland on. Against Marth, it's scary because his side B actually just clips the ledge. So if you try and jump without invincibility, you will just get hit. So to do that, you just need to like turn around back here and get your way back out of the center. Try and turn winner backwards, get height, try and get him to commit, then land. It's like the classic stuff I'm talking about. Yeah, Waveland on is scary, but if you, let's say he dashes back and you're on ledge here, Waveland on's good because he can't really just easily hit you out of dash back unless he pivot F smash it. Just pretty freaking crazy to go for right now, honestly. Never had a Marth go for dash back pivot F smash right there. They've done dash back really far back and then F smashed off of like me trying to go for like a fair from ledge to hit them. They never do pivot, so. Until they start doing that, then we'd be in trouble. Yeah, you're definitely in the mode of like I need to go for aerial falling aerial for sure right now. Like you're not really consciously thinking like, oh, I could just land next to him and try and like go for a dash attack, or like, oh, I could land next to him and then just backer him for dashing back. He has to like land on the ground. I can get him into a tech chase. I can jab reset him and go for a rest. I can go for just like just continued combo against him too. This is like hitting Marth with the back air was actually pretty good in terms of the fact that he can't do that much out of it. He can try and like crouch cancel, take it, and then run up grab after. But again, if he's slow, you can just crouch and jump and rest him. You can spot dodge rest him. So it's like Marth doesn't have a good time just dealing with like grounded play. That's why you see Hungrybox most of the time just chilling on the ground next to Zane. Or you see Hungrybox completely in the skies the entire game. So he has 1 or 2 modes. He's never like really in this height too much against like a Marth like Zane and like going for these types of falling aerials. He's mostly doing short hop ones. So again, you went for like a, if we're talking about the last dash attack on Dreamland, the weird one being like a roll read, you went for like another roll read. In general, most people will go for a roll away or tech in place against Puff, just how it is, because everyone's ingrained to the fact that, oh, if I roll in versus Jigglypuff, I die. No matter, like, even if it's silly for Puff to even rest in that situation, you're like, I die if I roll in. The only times you're really going to be dealing with roll in too much is if they are a Floaty. Well, Floaties love rolling in for some reason against Puff, just how it is. If they are Falco, and they're at like 60%, you hit them with a backer, they ops attack in, and they love doing that. That's another time they'll catch roll-ins. So besides that, you're not going to see them that much. Or the other times when you catch roll-ins, they're in the corner, and let's say you're threatening going for a backer, you don't go for the backer, and then you just like walk rest. And Hungrybox loves doing that one so much, or Wavedash back rest. But yeah, in like center like this, just hitting off a raw like aerial, they're not really rolling that much. And that's like pretty universal. Yeah, like I was saying, just jumping off the ledge is pretty rough to do against Marth without like a back air or like turn winner backwards or just sitting on the ledge with invincibility. Ooh, I like this this forward air you do actually. Right here, you forward air, you crouch on shield, really good. I don't like the wave dash though. I don't really. Do you know what you were trying to do here? Like what you were thinking?
I don't know. I think it worked out though. I think I got back.
Yeah, you got a Nair out of it. You could have gotten a back air, which would have been better. Or maybe an up air would have been better. I don't know. It's hard to tell if it was going to combo at this percent. But yeah, the Marth did a really bad full hop here. They should short hop here. So that's kind of why it worked. If this down air, if they had a short hop down air right here and you did this wave dash, you'd have gotten hit for sure. There's no way you would have. You didn't get a really clean wave dash, and also if it was a short hop down air, and you try to jump too after it. So that's a pretty big thing against Marth. Are they going to short hop down air at a shield? Are they going to short hop Nair? Are they going to short hop forward air? So you basically, I like the aerial crouch because sometimes they shield grab. Sometimes they will shield grab, especially that forward air. I was kind of surprised he didn't. Maybe this is a missed shield grab. That's why he jumped so high in the air and got a full hop. That could have been the case. But really did like the fair crouch. Again, like I was talking about earlier, you just jump if you expect them to miss a shield grab. That would be fine. The crouch is good. And then let's say he goes for an up smash. You can just up smash your. I mean, go not for an up smash. He goes for a Nair out of shield. You can just up smash yourself. Let's say he goes for a down air, you just crouch and then shield instead really early. Let's say he goes for up B out of shield, because sometimes they do that. Then you can go for shield of your own right after the crouch, like right before he goes for up B. So there's a couple options here. Wave dash away is like, it's okay. It's just like doesn't really make sense too much because you could just crouch. Let's say he hits you with this forward air. Let's say it was a forward air instead of a down air, and you're sitting here crouched. You can just take the forward air and crouch cancel grab him into like a forward smash or grab. So it didn't really matter there necessarily because he full hopped. But if he didn't full hop, then he probably wouldn't have gotten as clean of a punish because he did the wave dash forward. That was really good. I like going out there a lot of times against Marth. Percentage wise, it's like more of the time you're going to be on stage and going for like really like succinct like forward air regrab stuff, but going out there sometimes is really good too. Nice, you just landed there. I would still just recommend against like Marth or something. A lot of matchups you can just trivialize it and say whenever you land, you should crouch. Fox is like the only exception to that, where I don't think it's always the right move to always just land and crouch versus Fox, because then you're not really like gonna be ready against like a drill or something. But against Marth, I think it's fine to just land and crouch, because if he tries to go for a grab, then he just gets owned. Not a bad spot dodge attempt actually. Again, he tried to Waveland on. Yeah, no. Definitely just makes sense to just turn around back air that, or just go for, again, just like turn winner backwards and just gain height on him. Because you were completely fine when you were just jumping over him, just floating to the ground. Yeah. These forward airs are completely fine. This falling up air is completely fine. This crouch was good. When he does this type of roll, again, like I was talking about earlier, you can't really directly punish this when they do a roll away against you. So you want to just... What you could have done was just run up, try and grab him for shielding here. That would have been an option. I don't like going for this forward air. What you could have also done is try and short hop at him and then gone for either a back air or a grab if you think he's going to shield after he rolls. If you do not think he's going to shield after he rolls, then you go for the back air instead. But also how it works is usually you back air first to get them to shield, then you can go for grab. It's like the classic Jigglypuff. But I do not, again, like going for like the immediate type of aerial to cover the roll. Completely fine way to land. Sometimes you need to spot dodge when you land, and it's unfortunate how it works. In this matchup, you can just grab you for crouching, and also like if you... Sometimes you can wave dash down to reset your crouch, because you bob up and down in the middle of your crouch. So that kind of would work too, but usually most of the time spot dodge here is like the only way to get out of this.
What do you mean by bob up?
It's just like in the animation of crouch, Puff's character model bobs up and down, which is either your grab, essentially. Because like if in the beginning of your crouch, most of the times you cannot get grabbed. At least like you see how he tried to go for a true grab against you there and he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Most of the times with like you see how she's so much higher here in this animation of crouch than... I'll go to the other one. That crouch versus that crouch. See the difference in the height?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically she changes her height in the middle of her animation, which makes it easier to grab her. You'll even see like Zane. He's really good at just like shield grabbing Puff if they're just sitting in front of his shield too long. He's done that many times to me. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, no, so that's like an important thing. Like where spot dodge always will avoid Puff's grab, Marth's grab, whereas sometimes when you're crouching you will not avoid Marth's grab because you do not have perfect crouch at the beginning of the crouch. Sometimes it's not just the beginning, it's sometimes at different animations of the crouch, but most times you want to be crouching right before you get grabbed with either just hold down instantly or wave dash down right before, so you can definitely duck the grab, or you need to spot dodge, either one. Watch like the end of the stock and then call it there.
Alright.
Okay. Whenever he's just like sitting here like this, I know you're trying to go for like rest stuff on the grab. But you basically want to decide if he's doing early aerials or late aerials. If he's doing late aerials, just hit him out of the air like this, like just literally full hop backer him, and that'd be fine. Or you can do short hop backer him in the middle of his jump. If he's doing earlier aerials, then you need to wait out the aerial and then either try and crouch cancel grab it, or you want to just hit the end of his aerial, and then let's say you're late on hitting the end of his aerial with a back air, then you want to try and grab him instead. Either one would work. Ooh, that was really good until he tried to go for a upper here.
I should have gone.
Just gone for another back air. Just continuously back airing him. Whenever you get a character in the air that's not like Fox, realistically, especially all the floaties, just continuously keep back airing. So the up air sometimes will be a how do I call it? Will be a mix up to back air, where if
Can you repeat that last part?
basically whenever you hit a character in the air with a back air, just keep going for them, unless it's against like Fox or something. Literally anytime you hit a character in the air, like all the floaties with one back air, you can usually get another one. So just try and go for another back air here. It's kind of fine sometimes to go for a falling up air like this as a DI mix up, But by going for a falling up air, inherently you're delaying the fact that you could have gone for a back air immediately, because it's hard to hit this falling up air and you have to delay it in order to get a true DI mix up like you tried to do here, and then he was able to get it fair out in time. So what I would do is I would just continuously back air after you hit one back air against someone in the air. I wouldn't really try and go for a falling up air. This also could have just not been you going for a DI mix up and you just thinking, oh, I want to aerial falling aerial, which isn't the case here. You want to go for back air, then just go for another instant back air. You don't want to land with your back air, you just want to keep drifting towards him with it, essentially. It's like Wall of Pain, or if you've seen H-Box or seen it, Summit at that one time. It's the same thing. And that works on literally any floaty. Like, even if it doesn't knock down, like, or sends them into tumble, like, they can't just fare out of it, it will usually kill them. Again, that was a pretty fine attempt. I have nothing against it, but I'll think about if I have anything else to say realistically. Besides like the L canceling, the out of shield stuff, the tournament stuff, I would just think about like your height a lot more, in the sense that like sometimes you only go for like full hop approaches, but sometimes you just go for short hop ones too. Like you like to use like Wavedash a lot, but you like to use like a lot of full hop aerials when you attack. So you could just think like, oh, maybe I should try a short hop one this time, and sometimes that's the best option. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Do you have any questions?
No. That...
All right. Well.
No, wait. Actually, no.
Yeah. What is
it? Did you do a video of this?
Yeah. I'm recording it. I can send it to you.
Okay.
I'll probably upload it later. I'm just prepping for SmashCon, so I probably won't be able to upload it until after the tournament. But yeah, I'll have it like uploaded as well. It's like timestamped, but I'll send you a recording on the Google Drive before that, anyways, so you have it.
Yeah, I'd like a recording. I want to go over it.
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend to watch this, like, because it's a lot. Obviously, there's like I headlined like some really important stuff that like is easy. Well, not easy, but it's like the main stuff. But there's a lot of stuff obviously I said that wasn't just in what I just said there. But yeah, sounds good. Well, I'll see you, man. Good luck if you're going to SmashCon or if you're going to any other like majors recently. Well, yeah.
Peace.
Peace.
Good luck.